Okay, so today, let me just go through real quick what we're going to do today and tomorrow. I set you up with a precursor for next week, everybody. Today, hands-on testing, checking the unconscious person. Then we'll get into actually doing the hands-on testing. I'll do a live example with a demonstratee with me. Tomorrow we'll do the Bill Nye video. And also, the very first thing we'll do tomorrow, anybody who has gotten less than an 8 on that quiz yesterday can retake it first thing, okay? Here's some gentle reminders. I had 2 more people bring me in their fee. It's due next Friday, the 16th, okay? So if you're planning on paying that fee, you got about a week. And remember, you guys are out Monday. So technically, you got 5 days. Current event, Blue Group. I don't think anybody in here, you turned into current event, did you? No. No, you wouldn't. I don't think anybody in here has turned one in me yet. Yes. So, yeah, in my other classes, just about everybody's got them into me. I will tell you that it will impact your homework grade if you don't turn them in. It'll just, that's the way it is. This morning I asked you to get your packets. So you'll turn in your packet. I think it's page 17. Page 17 to get us started. Am I correct?
No. Checking your phone.
Checking the unconscious
First,
person.
that's
Yep, 17. Okay. So here we go. When we check an unconscious person, we have to be aware that it's more than likely going to be an emergency situation and life-threatening. Okay? It's going to be life-threatening. There are certain steps that you need to take for call first and care first, but that's when you're by yourself and you don't have a phone there to help you as well. But from this perspective, we're checking an unconscious person we find face down. I'm literally going to teach you how to roll that person over and look, listen, and feel to make sure that they're unconscious and decide what kind of care you're going to have to give them. If they're unconscious and breathing, calling 911 and just monitoring them is going to be the key. If they're unconscious and not breathing, what do you think I'm going to do? CPR, exactly. Can we do CPR if they have a heartbeat? No, we can't, exactly. Because CPR is simulating the beating of the heart, and when we give the rescue breaths, we're simulating the lungs opening and closing, the lungs work. Okay, so our objective today is to learn how to check an unconscious person and decide if we need to just call 911 and monitor them or begin care beyond that. All right? All right. Let's take about 1 minute. You got somebody sitting next to you. Work with that person. And here's what I want you to come up with. And you can write this right at the top of page 17. I have this same little blurb there for you. What are the steps you might take if you're on your way home from school and you encounter somebody who's unconscious? Okay? Somebody who's unconscious. All right? Use the 3 C's as your point of reference. Remember what the 3 C's are? Anybody? Can you tell me what the first C is?
Check.
Check. Check who?
The person.
Check the person and?
Call.
No?
Care.
Check the scene. Thank you, Mr. Delgado. Check the person in the scene. Then call. Then care as needed. Okay? So let's take about 1 minute, have a discussion, decide exactly how we would unravel this situation. Okay? Go ahead. I'll get you made up tomorrow first thing.
All right, thank you.
You see that Tim
Tebow got signed to the New York Mets.
Yeah, I just saw it. I thought that was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Talk about a money-making scam.
Seriously. You just can't be good at one thing enough to stay in the league for 2 years, and he was commentating.
He's 29 years old. He's a good person,
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He just
a
can't.
good
find-
athlete. He ruined himself by not deciding to be a tight end or a receiver.
Yeah. It's a shame because I like him, but
Yep.
although he's supposed to be pretty good at baseball too.
He
So
was hitting the ball pretty well, but he's 29.
it's just a shame that he still can't find the right thing.
We've got about 30 more seconds. I should hear a little bit of chatter, not just the three amigos right here.
I was busy all. Would you like it? I don't know if he does that. When we stop him just a second. Logan, celebrated him, see, like, hello. Logan, he just dropped. He was like, oh, stop right here. Not finish.
Okay, so we know we need to check call care. The scene is safe, we check the person, right? Person's unconscious. Let's say they're unconscious face down. Can we make a determination?
They fell.
If they need help, if they need CPR, do we know what to do there? No, we don't. So that's part of what you're going to learn today. How to get somebody from their stomach to their back in order to make a determination just exactly what is going to be necessary in terms of the care. Let's go back to the check. How do we check them? How do we check them? They might just be lying down having a little nap. How do we check them? Go ahead,
We
Alex.
start by like asking them if they're okay, just making sure they're not asleep.
Okay. Did you touch them?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. You should
Shake up
gently,
and just make sure.
gently touch their shoulder. It used to be back in the day when I was learning this 1,000 years ago that you used this thing called Resusci Annie, and you went up. That's the name of the doll that they used. Yeah. And you went up and you grabbed it, and you're like, Annie, are you okay? And you shook it really hard and fast. And then they're like, well, you know, if somebody's really unconscious, it doesn't matter how hard you shake them.
Just
All
gotta
right.
break their back.
So yeah, you could injure them even more. Right. So they've said you just need to go up and gently touch the person enough that they would be startled if they were still conscious, but enough for you to make a determination what kind of care you need to tell the EMTs they might need because they're unconscious. All right. So we've got this unconscious person. We've touched them. How are we going to get them from their stomach to their back? Do we know? How about this? Do we know? Do we potentially know if there's a head, neck, or spine injury? No. So that's going to be important as well, right? So we're going to have to pay special attention to that as we transition them from stomach to back. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well. Okay? I'm going to show you how to do that. Now we've got them on their back. How do we know if they're breathing? How do we know if, you know, we need to give them CPR? Okay. So these guys are telling me that I'm checking pulses and looking and listening. I'll buy into part of that. I won't buy into the other part of it. We've changed that a little bit, maybe because they have been familiarized with it or were familiar with it. Anybody else? No? Okay, great. So let's move on. checking for life-threatening conditions. These 4 things are critical when you're checking for life-threatening conditions. All right, and there are 4 lines there for you to write these in. The first one is unconsciousness. If somebody's unconscious, treat it as a life-threatening condition. If somebody is having issues breathing, whether it's asthma, whether it's some sort of anaphylactic shock they potentially are into, whatever the case may be. If there's an absence of breathing, this is the third one. Can somebody be unconscious and still breathing? Lorenzo? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then the 4th one up there, severe bleeding or hemorrhaging. Okay, an extensive amount of blood is coming out of them. That's life-threatening. When you encounter these 4 things, you have to treat them as life-threatening. And the quicker you act on those, the better chance you have of saving somebody's life. It's not a gray area. Everybody get those notes? You good? Okay. First thing you need to do, the first thing, tap the person on the shoulder and shout, "Are you okay?" It's okay to raise your voice, but we don't want to jostle them too hard that it would be like, we're roughing them up. All right, so for an adult, you tap them on the shoulder and shout, "Are you okay?" So your third question down says, when determining if a person is conscious or not, you should tap them on the shoulder and shout, "Are you okay?" For an infant, you not only have to tap them on the shoulder, but you need to tap them on the foot. It will send a reaction up their spine if they're conscious. Okay? Because they're still developing. So for an adult, for a child, we just need to tap the shoulder. For an infant under 1, we need to tap the foot as well as the shoulder, looking for reaction. If the person's not conscious, then it's an urgent situation. Life-threatening. Call 911. If you're by yourself and you don't have the phone right there with you, you got to practice the call first, care first situations. Remember, there are 3 call first and 2 care first situations. And we just had that little quiz on them yesterday. So don't forget, tomorrow, first thing, if you need to make that up because you got less than an 8, we're going to do that. As well as discovering if they're unconscious or not, you got to look for other life-threatening conditions. You could find a completely unconscious person not breathing who's bleeding like crazy. You got to decide what to do. For me, it's an easy decision. If they have no heartbeat, I need to make sure I'm trying to get the heart started. It doesn't matter how much they're bleeding if I can't get their heart started, right? Special circumstances, and these kind of tie in with the call first, care first stuff. For an unconscious adult not breathing, who's drowning, we want to give them 2 rescue breaths first, because it's a respiratory issue. For a child or an infant not breathing, who somebody saw collapse, we go ahead and give them CPR. Because normally, I'm going to teach you that with a child or an infant, we're going to give rescue breaths first. Because most likely with children, it's not a cardiac related issue. Unless we know that. Somebody has told us that. It's most likely a respiratory related issue that can lead to a cardiac issue. And finally, the last thing up there under special circumstance, and we'll learn more about this in the not so distant future, is choking related. If they have food in their mouth or liquid or something that's blocking their airway, we have to get right into giving them rescue breaths first to try and open the air hole and dislodge whatever it is that's blocking it. So you're going to learn something called modified CPR. After we do all the CPR and AED stuff, We do the breathing emergencies, which is choking, and then choking and going unconscious. Okay? So here's our clip on exactly what we need to do to check somebody who's on their back.
When you find a person who appears to be unconscious, follow the emergency action steps. Check, call, care, check the scene for safety. For a child, obtain consent from a parent or guardian if present. Then check the person for responsiveness. If the person doesn't respond, call for help. If the person is face down, gently roll the person face up, keeping the head, neck, and back in a straight line so you can provide care.
Okay. Not as concerned with you flipping the foot over like he did. That's not a concern to me. But what is a concern to me is a smooth transition from stomach to back. And one of the best ways to make sure you're getting somewhat of a smooth transition is the way you position yourself and the way you prepare to roll them over. The first thing you need to do is the arm closest to you needs to be extended. So when your arm's like this, it's more of a straight line, correct? Whereas if it's like this, you're going to hit a little bump in the road, all right, if your arm's down at the side. We don't want to potentially injure them worse than what they already could be by having you roll them over and move the head, neck, or spine in a way that could cause paralysis. So the first thing you want to do after you've determined that they're unconscious, that you've called 911, is extend that arm closest to you. The next thing you want to do is you want to place one hand on the hip, furthest away from you, and one hand behind the neck, like up in this area. Can everybody see me okay? Up in this area. And by doing so, you're protecting the head and the neck with one hand and keeping the spine aligned as best you can with the hand that's on the hip. So those are important things.
Once the person is on her back, open the airway by using the head tilt, chin lift technique.
You're going to need to know this head tilt chin lift technique, so pay close attention. You may even want to write something down in your notes. I believe on page 18 there's a blank section where you can write this down. Okay? You will be graded, it will be part of your grade, let's say that, the head tilt chin lift technique. Ladies, here's a little precursor for you. When we're going to do hands-on testing, either bring in a hair clip or some sort of hair tie so that your hair is out of your face. My girls in first period had a couple of them, their hair kept going into the person's face that they were working with in their own face, so they had to keep getting it out of their way, so they weren't properly holding the head back or tilting the chin upward. So keep that in mind. I'll actually try to remember to bring some stuff in. I have about a cajillion at home with my wife and daughters.
To perform the head tilt chin lift technique, place one hand on the forehead and two fingers on the bony part of the chin. Then tilt the head back as you lift up on the chin. Maintain this position. For a child, do not tilt the head back as far as you would for an adult. Check for breathing for no more than 10 seconds. Look to see if the person's chest clearly rises and falls. Listen for escaping air from the mouth and nose. Feel for escaping air against the side of your face. Normal, effective breathing is quiet, regular, and effortless.
Okay, so your head should be no more than maybe 6 inches away from their face, with your ear close to their mouth because you have their head tilted back and their chin lifted up, and you can feel for any type of breathing and you can hear any type of breathing. Additionally, your eyes are looking at their body to see if the chest is rising or falling. And I also try to tell people to pay special attention if there's a deformity on the body, if there's blood coming out somewhere, hemorrhaging, you know, it's important to be very perceptive of that kind of stuff. It saves time. All right? And I'm going to go through all this and have you write these notes down over here, but let me get through the video.
In an unconscious adult, you may detect an irregular, gasping, or shallow breath. This is known as an agonal breath. Do not confuse this with effective breathing. Care for the person as if there is no breathing at all. If an adult is not breathing, quickly check for severe bleeding. then begin chest compressions. If a child is not breathing, give 2 rescue breaths, one after the other, before checking for bleeding and giving care for the conditions you find. Use a CPR breathing barrier if available. Tilt the head back and lift the chin up. Then pinch the nose shut and make a complete seal over the child's mouth. Blow gently for about 1 second. Each breath should make the chest clearly rise. If the chest does not rise, re-tilt the child's head and try another rescue breath. After 2 successful rescue breaths, quickly scan the body for severe bleeding and care for the conditions you find. If at any time an unconscious person begins vomiting, the airway could become blocked. Roll the person onto one side, and then use a finger to clear out the mouth. Once the mouth is clear, continue to provide care based on the conditions you find. If the person is unconscious but breathing, maintain an open airway with the head tilt, chin lift technique, and monitor breathing and for any changes in condition until EMS personnel take over. If you cannot maintain an open and clear airway because of fluids or vomit, place the person in a modified Haynes recovery position by moving the person to her side while keeping the head, neck, and back in a straight line with the knees bent. If you need to leave the scene to call 911, modify this position by tucking the hand under the head.
Okay. So now we can take a look at baby.
If you encounter an infant who appears to be unconscious, follow the emergency action steps: check, call, care. First, check the scene for safety. Obtain consent from a parent or guardian if present. Then, check the infant for responsiveness. If the infant doesn't respond, call for help.
Call 911, this baby's unconscious.
With the infant on his back, open the airway by using the head tilt, chin lift technique. To perform the head tilt chin lift technique, place one hand on the forehead and 2 fingers on the bony part of the chin. Then tilt the head back slightly as you lift up on the chin. Maintain this neutral position where the head and chin are neither flexed downward nor extended backward. Check for breathing for no more than 10 seconds. Look to see if the infant's chest clearly rises and falls. Listen for escaping air from the mouth and nose. Feel for escaping air against the side of your face. Normal effective breathing is quiet, regular, and effortless. To give rescue breaths, use a CPR breathing barrier if available. Tilt the head back and lift the chin up. Then make a complete seal over the infant's mouth and nose. Blow gently for about 1 second. Each breath should make the chest clearly rise. If the chest does not rise, re-tilt the infant's head and try another rescue breath. After 2 successful rescue breaths, quickly scan the body for severe bleeding and care for the conditions you find. If the infant is unconscious and breathing, maintain an open airway and monitor breathing and for any changes in condition until EMS personnel take over.
Great. Prene, can you give me light, please? Entirely, the whole entire classroom. All right. You guys need to get those notes right over there. First thing you need to do is check for consciousness. Okay? This is the procedure. Check for consciousness. The second thing you need to do when you determine unconsciousness, call 911, get an AED. The next thing you need to do is make sure the arm that's closest to you is extended, and then put a hand on the back of the head and a hand on the hip and roll them towards you so that you can check for signs of life. In order to adequately check for signs of life, we have to do what's called head tilt, chin lift to open the airway. And then you LLF for 10 seconds. LLF means look, listen, and feel. Look at the body, listen for breathing, and feel against the side of your face if any breathing is going on. You do it for 10 seconds. No more, no less. That will help you to determine whether you need to just monitor or you need to kick in and doing CPR. We will have enough time to test out of this. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a hands-on demonstration. I want you to make sure that you are in position to see, okay? And then we'll get with a partner, get to the mats, and get it done. All right? Okay. I need someone to work with me. I need a partner so I can demonstrate. Anybody, somebody. Come on now. I knew that was going to happen. All right, lie down in that middle mat. Face down with your head at it. Yeah. Go halfway off the mat for me, please. That direction, halfway off. There we go. Okay. So I'll start you off and I'll tell you, the scene is safe if you find the body. Are you okay? They don't respond. Hopefully everybody can see this, because I don't see everybody in position to see this. They don't respond. That's where you got to kick in the next C. Call 911, get me an AED. Are there signs of life? So I can decide what kind of care I have to give him. His arm has been straightened out exactly like I need it. My hand's behind his head, my hand is on his hip, and I carefully roll him over. Now, for you guys, this is the awkward part, okay? I'm going to take my hand, one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's it for the test. Thank you, Alex. Okay, that's it for the test. So I'm going to process. But what helps you guys to do this adequately and correctly is the fact that I will give you prompts to get through. Okay? Any questions? You need your gloves on, and I need 6 groups to go to the mat.